Call me Ishmael. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, each a great opening line to a great story. And in just a few minutes, viewers of this broadcast will be blessed to witness what is certain to be an equally great beginning to an equally great tale, where over 14 rounds, brave souls will mount their open-wheeled DeLorean steeds, armed only with their talent, shielded only by clairvoyance and luck, to sportingly wage war on battlefields both oval and twisting. In every previous telling of this tale, in campaigns 1 and 2, the story ended in identical fashion, with the man affectionately known as Clendy, Kyle Klendworth, being crowned champion both times. So as the theater lights dim and the projector begins to roll, drivers, fans, and pundits alike anxiously grab at their metaphorical popcorn and slurp up their metaphorical soda, waiting to see if perhaps this time the Titanic can be patched, if E.T. this time stays with Elliot, if somehow this time Butch and Sundance manage to fight their way through the Bolivian army. Streaming cyberspace into your place from the apparition that is the Auto Club Speedway. It's the Virtual Whip Network's debut coverage of the ISRA Sim Gaming Expo Open Wheel Series. It's season 3. A warm Fontaine hello and welcome on this Wednesday night, January 14th, 2026. Jeremy Gridlock Scott joins yours truly, Bill Soupson, high up in the VGM press box to bring you our words eye view. Turning the knobs, pushing the sliders. It's the boss man, Lowell Jewell. And now let me reintroduce once again my booth mate. I call him Gridlock. His birth certificate reads Jeremy Scott. Partner, are you ready for IR 18 Dolores at Fontana?
Well, what better nickname than Gridlock to a place which has only the second worst traffic to my home radio network, and that's in Chicago, L.A., but it's absolutely fantastic. I was thinking this morning and this evening, what would be a great way to start a season would be here at Auto Club Speedway. It's unfortunate that the only way we can see it now is in the sim, but I think it would have lasted a little bit longer had the powers that be at 16th and Polko in Indianapolis decided that this is the place to be. Also, don't forget, too, 125 laps, rung what you brung, no fast repairs, and we'll see pit stops every 30 or so laps. It's going to be a lot of fun, and back to my roots of IndyCar racing.
Since this is the first round, no points to talk about. Let's go ahead and run down the starting order for you. On the pole, it's Mason Mitchum with Gary Loam after him.
Two-time defending champion Kyle Klendworth will be alongside Craig Forsyth, the Canadian, in aptly number 99.
Hugo Gallas will be starting in the 5th position with Mike Rigney outside of him.
Christopher is going to be starting 7th alongside Jim Herrick in the number 40.
Real world IndyCar driver, 7-time starter at the Indianapolis 500, Richie Hearn will be starting in 9th. He's going to be flanked by David Sorrow.
If you look at row number 6, you see Justin Kirby and Ryan O'Donohue in the 14.
In the Baker start, it's Mateus Esquez Marconi, and flanking him is Alex Guyon.
Take a look at row 8. You'll see David Rodriguez will be starting from that row alongside Joshua Zorn.
Then we have Lewis Hayes starting in 17th position with Chris Reagan in 18th.
And Soup, I'll go ahead and finish off the field. Brian Irby and Mark Murphy make up row 10. Shotgun on the field. It's the number 8 of Matt Taylor.
Glad you are with us. The first of 14. They begin to roll off of pit lane. Every race, we're going to have one spotlighted driver, and tonight it's going to be the 2-time champion, Kyle Klendworth. Okay, Vegas has set the over and under. We have Simon and Poindexter in the smoke-filled back rooms in those Vegas casinos, and they've given me this over-under line. I'm going to give it to you, partner. It's 3.5. Bet the under if you think Kyle's going to finish on the podium. Bet the over if you think he'll finish 4th or worse.
I'm going to go with the under, and Dexter Poindexter. I'm surprised that they've taken this season to get back going. I know that they ran into some legal trouble with some of the other series that we do, but no, I think it's going to be the under because look, he's a defending two-time champion here of the ISRA, and I think he's going to really do well. I love those those orange wheels though on our front row.
Mason Mitchum in control of the field. Glad you are with us. Should be a good one. We are so happy to be broadcasting this wonderful series. Got some open wheels. VGN notorious for doing lots of short track racing. Pace cars should be pulling in on a long track like this. They don't get a parade lap, just the pace lap. Pace car is in. And you know what to do. Gather up the chickens, they cover down the cows because the horses are out of the barn. And Mason Mitchell leads the stampede down into the first corner, and we get this season underway.
I wouldn't expect this string out to last too much longer. You see 2-3 wide already working our way through the middle part of that top 10 right now. I think we're going to see more of a clump. These cars absolutely love running in packs here, and 125 laps around the Auto Club Speedway. It's going to close up everything pretty quick. Which line are you going to choose, Soup? High, low, or middle?
I think any line will work. It's basically being in second. We're not going to get really excited when passes for the leads are made because the draft is going to be so big here. This is not a roast beef. This little piggy had roast beef or this little piggy had wheat. This is a big toe draft, baby. This is go to the market toe. And we got ourselves a new leader. It's Kyle Kenworth.
Yeah, no surprise that he made his way up to the top fastest lap of the race so far, and I think your fastest lap of the race will come right at the beginning of these stints as well, especially in the draft, because these Delaras, they punch a big hole in the air, so you'll see that. Lovern sitting all alone in second place. Forsyth Mitchum and Richie Hearn now in the top 5. 3 wide there for 5th place for just a little bit. Forsyth watching Hearn make his way up through the field. Hearn in that black and pink wheel car. And there you go. You see the draft effect take hold, Soup, as it just sucks the car up so close. And that's what I love about the series.
Because we do so much short track racing here on VGN, we have our policy. We do not like 3 wide, but we're going to throw that rule out the window because 3 wide here, it's a wide track. There's a big toe. You're going to see them 3 wide very, very often as they continue to work their way around. Very clean so far. These guys are proud of their reputation of getting in lots of green flag laps. We hope you got your stacks with you because we're not sure you're going to have time to go to the fridge. We may go wire to wire, green all the way.
I hope so. Wire to wire is really quick, especially with them logging 33-second laps. Leaves a half hour or so for 100 laps. So we'll see exactly what happens. Yeah, there you go. 3 wide once again. And you're going to see a lot of that pack racing that was oh so familiar with the time that Richie Hearn was racing. It's a little bit different. It's not as tight, not as close as it was. So, times change, Soup, and man, this is absolutely fantastic. To see this happen and not have to, have one eye closed, clench, because, you're going to rub fenders with somebody. You rub fenders with anybody here. Well, first of all, what the heck you doing running fenders on your Indy car? Second of all, it's going to end in tears. So far, so good as we're working lap number 5 around the circuit. Glendworth opening up a lead, but Lovern probably going to close in here shortly. You can't really stay up front too long, and look at that. You see that? You see you get in that slingshot mode. It's activated, and you're going to be gaining 3-4 spots.
That's Hugo Gallus. He started this lap in 3rd, went to the outside, went around 2nd, ran around 1st, new leader, and he brought with him my old Lionheart booth mate, Richie Hearn, my late mom's favorite driver. Good to see Richie out there racing in 2nd right now.
I'd kind of like to see Richie run one of his classic paint schemes at least once during the season, because he had some great paint schemes in his career in both Champ Car and in IndyCar. Yeah, I'm going to call them both Champ Car, Kart, IndyCar, because that's
Yeah.
exactly what they were. You have all the records together, that's great, but it was two separate series. Gala is trying to hold on to that lead for the time being. Richie Hearn right under the attenuator, but Glenworth trying to look to the inside. Not going to make anything happen. Stouffer, though, he's coming to the inside, side by side for third place between Glenworth and Stouffer. Rest of the field nice and tidy as they work their way around this wonderful 2-mile oval built especially for Indy cars.
Okay, I want to take you back to Mark Murphy. He is a big mover, up 10 positions. We like to document these guys as they make their way through the field. Murphy right now racing in. Oh, he picks up one more spot. He's up to 7th. He is coming with a bullet.
Hey, Soup, I'm looking at the YouTube chat, and definitely chime in if you're watching us. We had a famous driver who we know very well from one of our other series that we do. I'm gonna have you guess which driver this is. He asked, "Where did the fenders go?"
Oh, I have no idea who that could be. Who is that?
That would be two-time champion James Lowe, who's watching. James, you got to do one of these things. I think that you would actually have a blast in one of these Dallara IR18s.
James Lowe, notorious for racing those modifieds. There's no fenders on those cars, so those are almost open wheels.
Hey, David Serow is in the lead now. Richie Hearn still staying in second place. So really, Serow and Galaz flip-flop there for first and third place. And Aunt Mary Alice, if you're watching, good evening. Good to have you with us. As lots to play for here. Still plenty of time. Everybody slicing and dicing. I think for the first time this race, we have the top 10 into single file, and then they fan out once again through the corners. By the way, Mark Murphy up 17 spots, up to third in the number 69. Yeah. He's our highest climber so far.
My goodness, we caught him when he was back in 7th, and he's just not stopping until he gets to the front. And here he goes right now, working underneath. New leader, Mark Murphy.
By the way, I got to thank Soup, because he and I were scheming off air over the weekend. I told him that is an awesome shot right there, looking back at the driver. One of my favorite shots from when ABC used to host IndyCar racing. You get to really see the driver. Oh, that's just the money shot right there.
Mark Murphy, a good-looking guy there.
Yeah,
but he's not going to hold on to the lead too long. Here comes David Serow.
Yeah, Serow up there into the lead. Richie Hearn sitting in third. Rigney and Galaz rounding out your top 5 so far. Mitchum and Forsyth, they've fallen back just a little bit, but again, now we're starting to think about who decides to tire save, because we're about a third into this stint, Soup. Would you think about tire saving, or would you just run with the pack and probably pit with the pack? Here comes Richie Hearn to the inside, though. Wait a second, he pips at the line, Serow, and Richie Hearn, your new leader.
Well, they're racing at night. If they were doing an afternoon race here in Fontana, that's a place you do not want to be. It is dusty, it is dry, it is hot, and California is a wonderful place. Fontana in the afternoon is not one of the places you want to be here. With that said, a new leader. I think at night, I don't know. I honestly think you do not want to be on front. I don't know if it's as much tire wear. I think with the cold temps, I think that's not going to be as much of an issue as fuel saving. And I'm not sure if you don't want to sit back there. Hey, Jeremy, they're racing fixed setups, but that doesn't mean they're totally locked in. They still have some toys they can play with. And one of them is the mix.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to come into play. And, you say it's a cold setup, but you got to stop and figure, Soup. These Indy cars love these mid-70s temperatures. Yeah. 75 degrees ambient, 78 degrees trackside temperature. For those who are just new to IndyCar, we say ambient in terms of the temperature of the air out there. I might sprinkle it in our late model broadcast as well to kind of confuse people a little bit. There's Mason Mitchum, falling 11 spots. He was on the front row earlier, but that's not too much to worry about. If you're falling 11 spots with 120 laps into the race, that's a different story. Some of the best drafters, we're going to call Sam Hornish Jr. back in the day, fell back, waited to see how traffic was, and then inched his way forward. It's all about saving your equipment early on. Gary Lovern also in a battle for position. So I think some of these guys at the back, I'm not too worried about them just yet.
No, in fact, when you look at big movers, up 9 position is Thoreau, up 7 spots for Hearn, up 17 spots for Murphy. There's your front 3. Everybody else pretty much racing right about where they started. And I think this is a matter of there's really where are you going to go? You get out to the front, you're not leaving these guys behind. The draft is so big here. So you look at that wide angle shot to see they're all lined up. They're all bunched together.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath too much. Top 15 look like that they're in a straight line for the time being. So they work their way through 1 and 2 once again. Justin Kirby, the driver, the number 43, making his way around. And, of course, Kirby trying to hold off Marcomini makes easy work of him. Kirby now has to hold off Zorn and Reagan so far. And really, you take a look at the field. I'm looking at timing and scoring here, Soup. Everybody has somebody to race with. Nobody's really fallen off just yet. And everyone running about the 33-2s, 33-3s. So, still, you're running in a pack, you're running your own race, and you're conserving equipment. Now, if I'm one of the drivers near the back, I'm probably going to run a strategy of running just a little bit lean as well. Thoreau, once again, stays up front, but a lot of drivers stay in single file. Some are getting out there and cooling off those race cars.
I want to take you back to a driver in 9th position, car number 08. It's Alex Yon. He is originally from France, now lives in Canada. And because he's from France, what do you think his job is? Well, I'm not going to make you guess. He's an oil painter. Seems only appropriate, doesn't it?
Did he paint his own car with oils, or did he just... Yeah, never mind. Not going to go down that road.
Well, he's having a nice run. He is up 5 spots. One of the guys that are in a big move. We expect to go about 35 laps on a fuel stint, but honestly, they lie to us. They always can go farther than they tell the commentators. Maybe not so much for the guys who've been leading the race. Thoreau has 10 laps out in front. He's doing all the work. He's burning up the fuel. They all start with the same amount of gas. Doesn't mean they burn it up at the same time. So maybe number 099 might be pitting before anybody else with all those laps out in front.
Yeah, I think Thoreau's probably going to pit earliest because he's been the one who's been out front the most. I need to pull up my laps led column here. Let's see here. But regardless, yeah, Thoreau's been out front most of the race. I think Hearn on back, they can at least save just a little bit of fuel because, as we mentioned, those Indy cars, they punch a big hole. And you can save in spite of it being pretty dirty air.
Yeah, he's been out there. He's working on it'll be his 12th lap out in front when he comes around this time. We'd like to jump you around a little bit. We're going to take you back to 16th position. Things are hidden up back here. This is Mason Mitchum. Remember him? Well, he's racing a little farther back now. He's under attack. Good racing mid-pack.
Everybody running nice and clean, of course. One of my favorite things about IndyCar racing, green flag pit stops. Of course, I was also thinking one thing that the sim doesn't do compared to real life when we had Auto Club Speedway, the seams in the track. I don't think they cause as much of a problem as Will Power wishes that they didn't, which cost him that championship back in 2014, I believe it was. And yeah, so far so good. Everybody able to attack those seams quite nicely. So Rose opened up the biggest gap of the race that we've seen so far, 0.2 of a second between he and her. And I'm trying to see if there's another great battle. Got that battle between Mitchum and Marcomini we mentioned. But yeah, everybody just kind of holding steady, biding their time. Let's see for the first pit stop who's going to make the commitment first.
You talked about green flag pit stops, and boy, they stressed it in the forums about the rules for pit stops. When you come down in, you got to stay in the right lane. You can only come over into pit lane. You can only go through 3 boxes, and boy, they really emphasize that, and I believe they'll give you a penalty if you're running down the left side of pit lane. They want to keep it fair.
Yeah, no, you got to stay tight within those pit boxes because you don't want to cop that penalty. We're watching on the roll hoop of David Thoreau as he's got clear track ahead of him. Not going to have to worry about Richie Hearn too much, but Hearn 0.09 of a second behind, almost on the back of that attenuator.
You know what? They're single file like this. Boy, they asked the commentators to stay in their lane. Director, can we get a stationary? That's the one. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, I love it when they go by. You really see the speed as they run by in that stationary camera. Oh, there it is. Oh, I got goosebumps.
I absolutely love that. It looks like that Richie Hurd coming around turn number 4. High, wide, and handsome, though, is Gala. I think that he's going to try and go, but Hurd comes across the line. He logs another lap led as Siro falls back just a little bit up there, though. Mark Murphy going to try for something just a little bit higher as everybody just, like I said, just biding their time. 26 laps going to be in the books when they come across the line this next time by, as see a battle for position. Again, you're going to see all these battles. That's why we're sitting back here nice, calm, cool, collected. And meanwhile, the drivers are probably sweating it out, gripping the wheels, going, I gotta get around this guy.
Very calm right now, of course. These laps really don't matter. It's just a little bit of jockeying for position. Everybody's within a second of the lead. All the way back, I look back to 21st. Matt Taylor in 20th. He's 2 seconds behind, but he's still in contact with the, what do they call that in the Tour de France there, where they're all together, the pack of cars, the pack of bicycles
That would be a peloton.
There you go. That's what you're here for, baby. My partner and living thesaurus.
Well, I watch my fair share of cycling races, whether it be Le Tour, Paris-Roubaix, and maybe I'll even watch the Olympic road races this, wait, that's not this year because they were doing the Olympic road races. They would be mighty, mighty cold. Mike Rigney has gone into the lead. Mark Murphy now up 18 spots into second place. Richie Hearn falling back all the way to 4th place, and that's exactly how it goes around here as your top 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars, all single file. You have to go back to David Rodriguez, Alex Guyon, and Jim Herrick to find some sort of battle, but really battles just happen left and right. Snapping my fingers.
Mike Rigney out in front, looking through the VGN Commentator's Handbook. Page 17 clearly reads, in bold print, mind you, that when the man who got you the gig as commentators gets to the front, make sure you give him a lot of love. Director, let's go ahead and give that Rigney car. You got a close-up? There he is. Look at that guy. Oh, that's a good driver. Mike Rigney.
Well, if Mike and I have our way, you'll be with us at the Sim Gaming Expo later this year. And of course, you and I will actually do the first, I'll actually have to wear pants to the Sim Gaming Expo again. And we'll be able to call these guys around the circuit. You know, was there last year called the challenge races? It was absolutely fantastic. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, well, you can get them soon. Get the website, as they are much like everything else in Chicago, under construction.
Well, I'll tell you something right now. The podium guys at the end of the season in points, they all get a free 3-day pass to go there. So they're getting in for free. So right now, Mike Rigney on his way to having a fun time coming up in a little bit of while. Up 5 spots is Rigney.
Some of us don't need to finish in the top 3 to be eligible for the 3-day pass. Excuse me, sorry. I will say this, Soup. One thing that's going to happen is where the convention center is in Schaumburg, northwest of Chicago. They've got an Andretti karting facility that will be opening up this summer.
Ooh, that'll be good. Hey, let's check in on our spotlighted driver, car number 33, the 2-time champion, Kyle Klendworth. Are you worried? You picked the under. Thought he finished on the podium, back in 7th right now. Probably feeling pretty good this time. But one thing that these guys need to do, and the experienced drivers know to do that, is practice pit stops. Not just getting into your box, but getting down pit lane. Now here at Fontana, I think it's one of the easier tracks to get on. It's nice wide track. You can get out of traffic. Shouldn't be an issue. We think the stops are going to be coming pretty soon. They said they can go about 35. Again, they lied to us. So I expect pit stops around lap 38 or 39. Remember, they had to do their pace lap, so that's one under caution that doesn't count. Go ahead and mark down the guys you see right now. Rigney, Murphy, Siro, Hearn, Galliez, Stouffer. Oh, it's good to see Chris Stouffer racing here with us.
Just
I
that's
love
the
his
name
parents. How about this? They
That's it.
decided that they'd give him one name. They just named him Christopher. Chris Stouffer. Pretty smart.
Tip will be here all night. Make sure you tip your waitresses.
Oh my goodness, we are working lap number 35.
Yeah, so far.
Who's going to come in first?
Oh, that's a good question. I would, like I said, I have a feeling that if one goes, most, if not all of the field will go with them. You might see a couple of drivers who are daring enough, you know?
So here's the rules. They don't have the wave around. They do have the lucky dog. You do not want to come in early and then get caught by a caution and end up a lap down. That puts you behind the 8 ball for a wrong way to go. Based on laps out front, I would think the man in third, David Sereau, will probably be the first guy in. He's been out for 15 laps out front early on. Now remember, Kyle Kendworth, he was out front early. He fell back. I think he's happy back there in the draft right now.
Yeah, Glenworth, I mean, look, here's the thing. You can gain 1 to 2 laps per stint if you sit in the draft. So that is a lot. That's got this Dixon-esque, and I can finally say that, James Lowe, because Dixon doesn't drive stock cars. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, Rigney, though, with the lead, and yeah, I have a feeling that Sereau, with as long as he's been in the lead, I think he's going to come in and pit early. But here's the thing. You're going to see cars dipping down here shortly and then making the hard dip into pit road. Now, if I remember correctly, Soup, they don't need to use that cooldown lane to commit to the pits. However, they have to use that warm-up lane, which is going to catch some drivers out. I actually, several years ago in my past life as a blogger, I actually had the opportunity to ride in a pace car with Jimmy Vassar at Chicagoland Speedway, and he talked about the tips of hitting your marks, leaving pit road, staying in the warm-up lane. Oh, by the way, you've got cold tires you got to worry about too, so you've got to be on it the whole time.
All right, so here's the deal. Soup's going to do some math, and this is always scary. We're going 125 laps. You want to break that into 3 stints. What does that mean? You go 42, then another 42 gets you to 84, and another 42 gets you to 126. I think that's your mark. I think that's where you want to go. I think pitting on 39, that doesn't help you. You've got to nurse this thing.
Yeah, no, I think 42 is probably that prime number right there to get to the end with no problems. Here comes Sereau once again, like a cork shot out of a bottle, going to the outside of Rigney, and he's going to take the lead once again. So Rigney going low, letting Sereau decide to go up front.
Could be pit stop time.
Once
he get down the way.
It might be pit stop time. Let's keep an eye on the back of Sereau. As I've got a feeling.
I thought Rigney, I thought he got out of the way intentionally. So Rigney, who spent a lot of time out front, well. And Rigney loses and he spins it into the Fontana Alfalfa.
Now here's my next question. Did Sereau come in too hot? We saw him wiggle there at the pit in line, as Rigney have not seen him return to the track. Take a look. That building's in the way.
Oh, all right. Well, they come around this time. Now the bar has been set. Does Richie Hearn come in? No. He stays out. Out. Everybody's staying out. They go around again. Oh, my goodness. We got a crash. It involved Jim Hendrick. And my goodness, right at the pit window, they were 4 wide on the front stretch. And they got pinned out into the outside wall.
Jim Harrison's involved.
This starts with Gary Laverne, who Laverne surely, get that one, didn't want to do what he did, but he got into Taylor, and that punched Taylor up into the wall, and that got Hendrick.
I'm serious, and don't call me Shirley. So this, man, I don't know who this benefits here. This gives everybody a chance to come down. However, Soro now has, will have 2 to 3 lap fresher tires. Rigney actually looks like he is facing some repairs right now, but yeah, Hearn on back. They all, luckily for them, they get a chance to pit under yellow flag conditions.
Definitely hurt the two guys that came in early. They will be well down now. They might be able to circle around, but they'll be at the back of the pack. They did get to the number here. They come in and pit at lap 43. Now, Hearn stayed out. Am I looking at this? Did Hearn stay out a bit? No, he's fine. Okay, I was looking at the wrong driver. Hearn behind the pace car right now.
And we only have 2 races. We can actually call it a safety car. So that's kind of fun.
Oh.
Here we go. Right. We got the Conga line coming into the pits.
So Hearn leads them down. Murphy, who's made that charge, is second in line. Now, Murphy's box, because he qualified so bad, is going to be well down. He'll peel off first, and Hearn will get to go well down the line here. There's Murphy. He's out. They'll want to fill it up all the way. It's all about being clean, getting in your box clean. Oh, looping it, spinning it a little bit there. You got to watch out for that. That was, Christopher has to back up. That's going to cost him. Look for him to be at the back of the pack when they come out. Sitting at the very front of the box. They roll first off of pit lane. Who's it going to be? It's Mark Lucky Murphy.
Yeah, Mark Murphy, Richie Hearn, David Rodriguez, your top 3 so far. And looking at the stats, if everybody, and they do come off, it looks like it's going to be the one, the only Mike Rigney who will be the lucky dog, most likely.
Yeah, he was spinning off into the grass. Soro is well down the order. Remember, he came in with Rigney. He's down in 17th spot. He's quick. You know, but we saw what Murphy could do driving through the field. This is really, as long as you're on the lead lap, you still got, Suit's going to do math again. Well, I can look right up there. 66 laps to go. Something like that. I don't know what I got. My eyes are bad. Plenty of time. 80 laps.
Rigney's going to take this opportunity also to come down and maybe top up. Mason Mitchum also coming in. And let's see what the pace car decides to do. Lights are out.
Well, those guys in the back, nothing to lose. Come on in. They can go a little bit farther. Maybe run a little bit harder because, yes, they got to their number. Everyone wants to hit that. What do we say, about 41 or 42? But we don't know what fuel mix they were running. So, in theory, if you're the last guy to pit, maybe you can run a little richer, maybe run a little faster, have a little more to race with at the end.
Soro got the solid black flag, so yeah, I think he was just too fast entering. He's answering that call right now, and we'll see if that black flag gets cleared. But yeah, Soro, our early race leader, already running into some problems. It's going to be Murphy, Hearn, Rodriguez, Galaz, and Glendworth, your top 5 as we go for our first restart of the season, first restart here on VGN.
David Rodriguez up a dozen spots. Guy to watch. Can't wait to get more familiar with these names. I know some of them from my years over at Lionheart, and there's a handful of them down here that I know from them. But for the most part, we're getting to know these guys, and as the season goes along, we'll only get to know them better, and the commentating will only be more interesting. Pace car will pull in. This time around, turning it over, control of the field. Single file start to Mark Murphy. All right, we are back underway. Murphy working lap number 46. He's been out front for 3 laps. He's chased by Richie Hearn. The man to watch, David Rodriguez.
Zoop Saro's black flag has not been cleared, so he will have to come down for a pass-through penalty. That's going to be absolute killer, but I have a feeling he's going to try his best to stay the first car one lap down. As looking at Murphy, trying to hold off Richie Hearn. Of course, once you're in the draft, you know, there's nothing you can do as everybody working their way around at speed. Mark Murphy up 19 spots, your top 5, trying to split away for the rest of the field, but of course now everybody strings out, so that's going to give Marcamini and Lovern a chance to close in as well.
I want to talk about Marcamini. He's having a nice run. Mateus back there in a battle right now with Gary Laverne. Laverne, remember, was involved in that earlier incident that brought out the yellow. Marcamini working the top side. Next on his hit list is the 2-time champ. Well, they call him Clendy. Kyle Clendy. Oh, my goodness. My spidey senses are tingling back here now as they're starting to bunch up. Going down low, working on the low side. They get it sorted out. Easy, boys.
Right, trying to get low, low, low. That's the shortest way around. Reminds me of the days when Elio Castroneves would try and, well, he would decide to try and take the low line, maybe cut the backstretch up, especially on some of those ovals for qualifying. As Herrick's meatball has been cleared off, we'll see him come out hopefully here within the next couple of laps. But Saro's problems, I think he's lost more. Well, he is going to lose 1 lap at least. Oh, no, he's lost 2 laps. So Saro and Rigney both 2 laps down. Goes to show that a too fast entering penalty is a race killer.
Okay, there's the guys who's coming. Let's look at Justin Kirby. Kirby right now in 11th position. Now he's going to the inside. He is on the move. He just got around Galles. Now he's going down low again. He's picking them off 2 and 3 at a time. Making hay while the sun is shining. The tires are nice, and Justin Kirby doing a good run as he works his way all the way, well, to the front.
0.09 seconds at the line. Now a quarter of a second lead between Kirby and Reagan. Chris Reagan up 16 spots. Soup, your top 4, they've all gone up double digits from their grid position, with Richie Hearn sitting there in 5th place, only up 4. But yeah, this just goes to show that, you know, some races we're going to see this, other races it's going to be more of a grit and grind to get up near the front. So you know, strike while the iron's hot and get up. There's Kirby and Reagan side by side. Reagan taking the Kyle Larson line, what have you, through 1 and 2, and he's going to tuck in right behind Kirby as he's going to try the low line again. This time it might be successful, and indeed it is, through 3 and 4. So move Chris Reagan up to the top.
Based on what I saw Kirby just do, I have a hunch that these guys have dialed it back a little bit. And I think anybody who wants to burn the fuel and pay the price petrol-wise can get to the front. I think Kirby just dialed it up and said, let's get up there. And now he's taking it easy, races in second, because he was just flying by. I don't think anybody right now is showing us what we got. In fact, I don't think we've learned anything about who the fastest cars are.
No, I don't think we've learned a darn thing, and that's A-okay. Why not just race yourself, maybe get to 100 laps in 110 laps, and then maybe drop the hammer. Again, we are seeing times close to what the fastest lap of the race has been. Ryan O'Donoghue actually has it at 32.634. He makes his way up to 3rd so far. He's trying to go down low for 2nd. Indeed, he's going to get it. Does he challenge Chris Reagan? And I think he's going to. You know, this almost reminds me of the later days of the Dallara IR03, where the leaders would just swap positions left and right and just save fuel. So I'm wondering if we're going to see some of that here during the 2nd stint.
Let's go back and look at another driver who's decided to make a move. This is Joshua Zorn, the son of the Seattle Seahawks former quarterback up there in Seattle. Zorn now making a move going underneath. My information might be wrong about his dad, but let's go with it because it's a good story. Chris Stouffer on the outside, Zorn on a move. 2 wide in front of him. Mark Murphy looking for a place to go. Oh, there's a hole in the middle for Murphy if he wants it.
Well, if you have any complaints about Soup's inaccurate information, email soup@vgn.com.
It's
Just
very
don't mind
possible that he could be Jim Zorn's son. I'm going with it until I'm proven wrong.
Well, I was going to say, Soup, if you hear whirring after you send the email, don't worry about it. Ryan O'Donohue up to the point now as he is your new race leader. See if he can keep it down the straightaway. I don't think he's going to, as Chris Reagan going into the inside. And indeed, Murphy? We'll see what happens when they cross the line this time by. As, that's actually the lap car, I apologize, of Mike Rigney. So Rigney now in a prime position to have everybody draft off him, as Murphy's still going to the inside of O'Donohue for that lead. And this kind of adds a new wrinkle to the plan, because now you've got O'Donohue, who was punching a hole early on at just the tail end of the draft of Rigney.
All right, VGN social media is blowing up. We do not know if it is Ryan O'Donohue or if it's just Ryan O'Donohue.
According to Rigney, it was.
Oh, we do.
According to Rigney, it was O'Donohue.
Oh, it is O'Donohue. There should be like an apostrophe or something in there.
Some of us decided to throw our microphone against the wall over the winter holiday season. Wonder why it wasn't working. Never mind. We'll go into that. O'Donohue holding off Reagan and Murphy 1, 2, and 3 so far. And of course, like I said, you've got Rigney, who is your quote-unquote leader, but he is 2 laps down. It's not to be 3 laps down should O'Donohue decide to take that lead.
Look at here in the VGN Commentator's Handbook. It clearly says on page 17 in bold type, when the man that got you the job is last car on the lead lap, give him some screen time. There he is. Mike Rigney. Hanging on the lead lap by about 35 feet.
Rigney's, is he 1 lap down or 2 lap? I think it looks like he's 1 lap down. But either way, that yellow during their pit stop hurt him more than he could imagine. It's not like he could have passed through pit road either, Soup, because he was already up on the jacks when that crash happened.
You are correct. He is 1 lap down. So let me double check. Is he in the lucky dog position? I believe he is. Yes. So get that lap back if he can stay out in front, and then for something to happen behind him.
And I'm going to do something dangerous and do math myself, because I believe we are getting close to the halfway point. And indeed we are. About 62 and a half laps is our halfway point.
And of course, the leader at the halfway mark wins 2 dozen homemade cookies from Mrs. George Anzaldo. So we'll get those in the mail to you. You want to be out in front for those. Moving across the line. Go ahead.
Boss man's like, who?
Oh, they're whispering in my ear. I do not have the talent to commentate and listen at the same time. Let's look back at this battle between Zorn and Hearn. Both of these guys biding their time right now. Zorn in 7th, Hearn in 8th. We have not talked a lot about Greg Forsythe having a nice run.
Yeah, Forsythe having a great run in that number 99 Forsythe Players-esque paint scheme.
It is.
He's down 5 spots from his crib, but like we said, it's not that much of a big issue. Now we go on to the shorter tracks and the road courses, and you're down 5. Yeah, maybe it might be time to freak out, but this is just a Sunday drive all around Fontana, so not a bad showing for him. And a lot of drivers trying out different lines for later on. And by the way, we are at halfway in this race.
Cookies! So here's the deal. You want to try to go as far as you can, because the farther you go, this is going to seem like pretty basic logic here, but the farther you get to the checker, closest you get to the checker flag, the less fuel you'll need. Or, on the other hand, the more fuel you can take, you can fill it up, and you have more to burn. You can race faster. So you don't want to be pitting then have to save. You want to try to take this thing as far as you can go, get yourself a full tank, and then race with reckless abandon.
Yes. You gotta get as far as you can. That's kind of the point of doing these stints. But either way, you got to do some sort of thinking. If I'm Mike Rigney or David Serow, now I've got to think, okay, how do I get back on the lead lap? How do I strategize this? Unfortunately, Rigney is the leader of this pack. But then again, if he does that, he's going to put himself an extra lap down. So he needs to stay out in front and hope that somebody decides to help out his cause, and cause a yellow. But either way, there's so many strategies that are at play.
Just to drill down on the point I was trying to make, your goal is not to get to the point where you can get to the end on that last stop. Your goal is to get to the point where you can take a lot, so you have a lot to race with, because it's going to be a matter of where you can dial up that fuel mixture and how fast you can go. These are fixed setups, but they just do get those toys to play with. They can do with their fuel mixture and also the weight jacker. Now, here's the deal on the weight jacker. Personally, for me, I was educated in Catholic school, and Monsignor Lynch, I clearly remember him telling me that if you play with your weight jacker, you could go blind. So I don't think that's a good idea. I made myself laugh.
Well, is it more than 2 moves? And no, I'm not going to go there. This is a family program here, Jeremy. Family program.
Oh, mercy. Yes, I've enjoyed my time on VGN.
Oh,
I hope you get a good partner for the rest of this series.
Well, I've got plenty of drivers and all that in the arsenal. I'm not too worried about that. We'll just see. Pretty soon, this broadcast is going to be just full straight censorship beeps. It's going to be unnecessary censorship on Jimmy Kimmel. But either way, not much movement out there, which is fine. Everybody trying to figure out who their dance partner is going to be here for the end of the race. 60 laps. We're working right now. So we're probably about another 15, 20 laps away from our next pit stop cycle.
Well, here's an interesting piece of strategy. There are bonus points for most laps led. Now, usually you don't want to be leaving. Ryan O'Donoghue is out there in front right now, and you say, well, that's not good. You don't want to be leading because you're burning up the most fuel. But he's got it perfect because he's got a guy out there running a good pace, Mike Rigney, and he can lead these laps and still get the benefit of the draft. It's a kind of a win-win situation for Ryan.
No, it really is. Of course, those points mean just so much here at the end of the season. O'Donoghue took a look to the inside of Rigney. That was interesting.
You know what? Here's something. I found out, this is a news alert, the points that you win in the first race count just as much as the points at the end of the season. You wouldn't think so.
When did Bo Barfield walk into the broadcast booth? That was absolutely fantastic.
All right, we're working lap number 68. Boy, coming into this thing, they prided themselves. I said, you know what? I would like to do caution flag interviews if you could, so we can get a little insight on some of the drivers. And they said, well, that's fine, Soup, but we don't really know what those cautions are. We've had one, and it wouldn't surprise me if we're going to have one. These guys really look comfortable right now. But really, Jeremy, they're just kind of putting in the laps. Things are going to change when it's time to boogie with 10 to go.
And this is a point where I call it garbage time. Get in there and run those laps. I don't mean garbage time because, oh, this is awful. No, it's garbage time because it's mindless racing. You got to put in the laps to get to the end and then race. So, still plenty of action all throughout the field. And once it's boogie time, once we can drop the hammer, that's when it's going to be absolutely fun. And, pack racing, everybody remembers it as, side-by-side tight racing. Well, it's still pack racing. We're all running in a pack. It's just a single file pack, nonetheless.
Okay, each race, we will have a different spotlighted driver, and sometimes it'll be guys you know, sometimes it'll be guys you won't know. Let's check back in on our spotlighted driver night. Kyle Kenworth. My goodness, he is just buried in the field right now, sitting in 11th. It's over for Kenworth. He has no chance of winning this thing.
Nah, I'm still feeling confident. Look, like I said, we're working lap 72 right now, so still plenty of time for Clenworth to make his presence known. And he's the two-time defending series champion. He knows how to race a lot of these guys.
Clenworth, the DC money man, living in our nation's capital and finance right now.
Yeah, doesn't that help?
Work his way to the front.
I say it doesn't hurt. He's from downstate Illinois, so one of our own. Losing one spot,
Indeed.
not a big deal. He'll get it up there.
Ah, love that camera shot as they come around. Good turnout tonight, fan-wise. Some of the most attractive simulated fans you'll find on any racing platform.
Well, if we're going to talk a little bit, well, we've got some, some decent racing so far as Clenworth falls back to 13th. Some news out of the Indy Next stable, I should say, Indy Next by Firestone. Team at Kuracek becomes the first Polish driver in Indy Next. So that's going to be interesting story to follow. He comes from the Euro Formula Open Series.
What was his last name?
Kuracek.
Kuracek.
I think.
All right.
Kuracek. I might be pronouncing it wrong. It's spelled Kucharczyk.
That's all right. As long as it doesn't end in a burg, that's fine. I have a hard time. I get confused. Hey, got a little trivia for you since we got a little bit of adult time here.
We do. Go ahead.
In all of the Indy 500s ever raced, do you realize there has never been a single driver with the last name of Smith?
Correct. The closest they came to Smith was, I can't remember his first name, but he used to run the Craftsman car in 1994. He attempted, but he did not make the race. Ran every other kart race that season, though.
Coming at you. Again, I'm going to stay in my lane. I get in trouble for calling a shot, but I don't know if we have it. Director, do we have the single camera box shot? Are we able to do that on a big super speedway run? That's probably not. I love this fan shot, though. No, we don't have one. We're going to get one of those for you. How about a blimp shot? Do we have a blimp shot? Love the blimp shot.
There we go.
It's good you're blimp. Park not that far.
Yeah,
just a few miles down, they land those here in Southern California.
They do, yeah. It's the home of the one of the Goodyear blimp locations, but this is a Firestone series, so and we've got the Firestone Firehawk drone all over the place. Of course, it's better than having the Murder Hawk in pit road, but regardless,
I tell you, this drone it's got some top end speed, doesn't it? Look how it aims right with these guys.
It really does. And speaking of top end speed, I'm trying to go up and down our top speed monitor here in timing and scoring. It looks like the highest trap speed was a 233.3 by Chris Stouffer. I'm sorry, 237.2 out of Mitchum. So that must have been actually in the draft, as now we start to see a little bit of bobbing and weaving. Rigney trying to start the snake as we're working lap 80 once everybody crosses the line here shortly. And Lowell with a great pickup on that trap speed. But nonetheless, it's still anybody's race as we're working lap 80 here of 125. So we're about two-thirds of the way of the race through. My question to you, Soup, is what has impressed you most about this race so far?
Well, it's been very clean racing, and obviously we expected that one as we have somebody coming in. Oh my goodness, it's Joshua Zorn, pit stop time. Gotta figure that wasn't planned. Did he short fill? Oh, he got to lap 80. Maybe this is as far as he can go. Might have had that turned up a little bit much. What I think is most impressive is the way these guys have realized that none of this really matters until that final pit stop. And that's when we go racing.
Well, and that's going to be coming up here shortly for some of those drivers. I was going to say Zorn was one of those drivers who decided to top up before the green flag, before the restart. So it's interesting to see that he decides to pit early. That should give him, I gotta do math on my fingers and toes. Give me a second. 90, 100. That should get that about
I don't think
40.
So.
No, it's not gonna last. He's got to be gambling out of caution.
Well, I'll ask you. We've seen these guys drive. Now, I want you to figure out, who do you like? We really haven't seen anybody show their cards yet. This is basically, out of all the drivers, we've seen Murphy work his way through. Now, notice up front. Now you see these guys racing. You'll see the action pick up when he gets close to pit stop time, because that's where the positions matter. Being able to get down pit lane a couple spots ahead is way more valuable than being a couple spots ahead on the track right now. So the action up front, I think that means we are getting close to pit party.
I agree. And by the way, Kyle Clemworth up to third place. Chris Reagan, your new leader. Richie Hearn sitting there in second place. And if you had a race strategist, they would be barking in your ear. You got it. All right, we're coming in X amount of laps. Make sure you're picking up your time, because that's when you're going to see a lot of these drivers come in and run some of their fastest laps. O'Donoghue out of the pits. Zorn obviously out of the pits. There's one more driver I saw who was in the pits. So still, as we see, I think Lewis Hayes is going to be in the pits, David Rodriguez here shortly. But yeah, now we're seeing the pack racing that we all know and love, because everybody's going to start coming in the pits here within the next couple laps. Who decides to answer the call this time? And I don't see anybody. So give it another couple laps, and I think that's when the window is going to fully open. It's cracked a little bit. A couple drivers have taken the bait, but I think that in the next couple laps, that's where we're going to start to see the window fully open. Irby's in. Ciro is in as well.
So O'Donoghue is the leader of all the cars who have pitted. Am I correct on that? Is that what we think? Yes.
Yeah, O'Donoghue's the leader on aggregate right now. Richie Hearn is back up to the point with Glenworth second. Mark Murphy making his way around third. We got one car coming to the pits. That's Chris Reagan.
So we're going to keep an eye on the real leader right now is O'Donoghue. Now, coming out of the pits, Brian Irby, but he's going to get blown by looking for the driver who made that stop. And I think O'Donoghue is still the guy.
Yeah, O'Donoghue's still at the aggregate point. Well, I don't know. Chris Reagan came out, and he's in the pits, I should say. So he should be coming out. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out. He's going to fall back a little bit, but I think, well, let's see where he falls out after the warm-up lap, to say the least.
But here's the point I made on O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue's not going to be able to race as hard as he would like, because he has to go farther than the rest of these guys. So while he may be the leader, and maybe he can fall back into the pack and dial it down and stay with the guys, a little bit worried.
Yeah, I think, the driver's going to come in probably right, I would say right about now. This could be the early part. Now, not lap 92, 93, that's where you'll have some more takers. Marcomini and Hayes, your two takers there. But I think the leader's probably going to pit around 91, 92, 93. And if you pit then, Soup, I think that you will have the advantage to run the full distance, and even on full rich maybe.
Okay, here's what I want to do. I want to pick up Marcomini, who's in pit lane right now, and now we're going to watch O'Donoghue as he comes around out of 4. Let's see if Marcomini can get out in front of him. This will tell us how hard that O'Donoghue's been racing out there. He's coming across the line right now. Marcomini is, Hayes is out. Marcomini is out. Marcomini, and he gets blown by. Another good thing for O'Donoghue right now is he has Rigby as a racing partner, and they've been leapfrogging each other, picking up a couple car lengths each lap.
And of course, now the driver's really pulling me wrong. Stouffer gets a black flag for too fast entering, so Stouffer's race effectively over. We see Forsyth, Stouffer, Glenworth, Gallas, Lover and Kirby, and they're in the pits. Hearn, Murphy, Rodriguez, and Guyan all came in as well. O'Donohue able to get around Guyan, but still poking his way around. Does he get around Hearn and Murphy? That's really going to tell you how fast some of these drivers are going.
Justin Kirby looped it in pit lane. That's going to cost him.
Mitchum's in. And he also cops a black flag for too fast entering.
You know, we talked about timing and practicing your pit stops. Clearly, some people didn't listen to what Soup was preaching. Okay, let's look at O'Donohue. O'Donohue just drove by the guys who are coming up pit lane. O'Donohue's still leading all drivers who have pitted. Hearn is out. And if you look at Hearn, he's got O'Donohue. He's in front of O'Donohue right now.
So yeah, Hearn looking pretty good. And he's going to go around the outside, take the lead as everybody passes Mason Mitchum, who's in the pits. It's a long pit stop for Mitchum, 24-25 seconds. Wonder what happened there. Oh, he has a black flag as well. So Hearn and Forsyth, though, side by side, as Forsyth decides discretion is a better part of valor. He's going to tuck in behind and hold off. Now things are going to start to get racy. We're working lap 92 once we cross the line with Richie Hearn, Craig Forsyth, and Mark Murphy. 1, 2, 3. Battle for fourth heats up as well between Kyle O'Donohue and Kyle Clenworth. He makes his way up to fourth. Clenworth does.
Now we race for real. Everybody's made their stop. Now the positions start to matter. Forsyth and Hearn swapping positions up front. Diving down low. That is, hey, our spotlighted driver, Kyle Clenworth. Clendy racing in third. Rolling on the top side. Mark Murphy. 2 by 2 racing up front. Going to the inside, Forsyth. Where are you going? Nowhere, because the draft is too strong. You can't pull away.
Oh, here comes Richie Hearn to the inside of Forsyth, and we're going to see this now here on and on. All the drafting, everything has come down to these laps, as it'll be working lap 94 here across the line. Hearn, Forsyth, Murphy, 1, 2, and 3. As Forsyth's going to go around the inside, he's going to take the lead. Look who goes high, wide, and hits him. It's Clenworth.
Well, he got 2 out of 3 right. High and wide, the handsome part is debatable. When it comes to who pitted last, Forsyth pitted last, as did Hearn. No, let me correct myself. As did Clenworth. Hearn and Murphy came in 1 lap earlier. And the guy who is really in bad shape, it's Ryan O'Donohue. O'Donohue's sitting out there. He's been out there for about 7 laps longer than the rest of these guys. He's got to dial it down.
Just sitting here watching the top 4 close in once again. Forsyth, Hearn, Murphy, Clenworth, and here comes Marco Meany. Where did he come from? Up 8 spots from his grid spot, but still, your highest climber so far this race is Mark Murphy, up 17 from his grid spot. And once again, Hearn and Forsyth, they're running side by side. While, yes, it is good that they are trying to save fuel and kind of draft off one another, that could open up a little bit of a battle between Murphy and Clenworth as well. Murphy trying to find a line to run with as they work into turn number 3, and Richie Hearn back to the lead, but he brings Mark Murphy with him as Forsyth loses just a little bit.
What's funny, you talked about Murphy being the big mover, and honestly, he did it all in about a lap and a half. He just decided to pass everybody and get up front ever since he's been up there. 3 wide up front. They are racing in. Oh, they look like the Blue Angels out there.
Not a bad showing so far as Hearn holding off Murphy and Forsyth. Lap 97 is about ready to be complete. We have 96 laps in the books, so we're under 30 laps to go. It is about ready to be go time here at Auto Club Speedway, Soup. And now it's a part of how do you make your move? The first group here, it's 9 cars. You got to go back a couple of seconds to Hugo Galvez, who has three cars in that group. But look at Forsyth and Hearn. They're still battling side by side. That's giving Murphy and Clenworth a chance to help open up that gap as Marcamini now starting to own that group.
So they're doing a lot of swapping, but I want you to watch now as they're racing in anger. Yes, the ambient temperature is low and the tire traction is very good, but they're still going to burn up their stuff. Watch as they dive down low. If the car on the low side can keep it down low and doesn't drift up into the car on the higher lane. You see them swapping right now? Yeah, it's easy. This is going to be a little harder to do when we get closer to the end.
Yeah, you and I mentioned time and time again, these open wheel cars, quote unquote, of the modifieds, they don't like being tortured that much. These tires are being pushed to their limits as we speak with all the battling. So it's going to be interesting to see how these Firestones work as we see Clenworth go to the inside of Murphy for that third spot. He wants second, but Forsyth shuts the door on him on lap 100.
Forsyth again not really wanting to stay out front too long, hoping that Hearn gets a run. Hearn with the run coming down the backstretch. He'll dip underneath and they'll swap positions one more time. Back watching in what we like to call the popcorn position with butter on his racing glove is Clendy, 2-time champion. Kyle Clenworth back there. Then in fourth, it's Mark Murphy. These guys seem to be the cream of the crop. If we can look back at fifth, maybe losing touch now is Mark Camoni. Mateus having a hard time. He's in a set of 3 back there with O'Donoghue and Rodriguez.
I thought we were about to go 3 wide there for a second with Hearn, Forsyth, and Clendy as they made their way 3 wide for just a brief second heading into turn number 1. And lots to battle for here as you've got this battle for the lead, and then you've got the Mark Murphy group trying to, bob and weave and find their way through. Now we're in the closing stages of the race. Forsyth goes to the inside once again. Clendy trying that high line to see if it works for him. So far, it's almost like there's a parachute attached to that car once he gets high, but if he can get low soup, I think he's going to be pretty dangerous.
The story is the guy's back in 5th position. Mark Amini just gives up a spot to David Rodriguez, who shot through the middle. These guys are doing their very best. They've got to work together to see if they can get to the front 4. Meanwhile, these front 4 are really picking them up and putting them down, and they are getting a bit of a gap now. The race field's getting a little bifurcated. They go 3 wide up front. That's not the fastest way to turn a lap. Forsyth goes low. Soup, don't worry about my tires. I can go low and keep it down there. But he loses momentum out of 2. That's going to allow Hearn to get it. Working on the top side. There goes Clenworth. Oh, my goodness. Settle down, boys. We still got a long way to go. It's not boogie time yet.
Clenworth, though, trying to look around the outside of Hearn for that second spot. He gets it for the time being, but Hearn is just too good down low. And like I said, if Clenworth can get down low, he's going to be A-okay, but he's going to try and make the pass on the outside. Ain't going to happen as Hearn closes in on Clenworth once again. You see the gap there, just closing ever so slightly. Now Clenworth stays in second place. He's going to get that down low position. Move Clendy to the point.
Well, this is well good up here these guys are having. They're racing, having fun, staying clean, but what they're doing is costing themselves time. When we talked about it, here comes David Rodriguez. He's left the guys behind him, and we're going to have a parte de cinco. That's a little bit of French and Spanish combined there.
So far, so good as Hearn gets back up to the lead. And about 20 laps to go in this race. So now we are at the drop the hammer time. Time to find your dance partner, see who you're going to prom with, and make your move there because we're getting ever so closer to that checker flag. Clenworth back up to the top. Hearn's going to fall 2 positions to third so far as Murphy, he's down low trying to get back into that lead. Clenworth takes the lead across the line, but Murphy gets it in turn 1.
Out of the 4 guys up front, Forsyth has led the least laps of 2 of them. Clendy has led 7, Murphy 10. The big guy that's been out front, Richie Hearn with 23. 26 laps led for O'Donoghue, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to get those bonus points as Hearn might be able to pick up a few more between now and then. Now to know if Donahue's going to be able to get to the front again.
Yeah, O'Donohue, he's back about 1.5 seconds. So, yeah, I think it's game over unless a late caution happens. As once again, Murphy goes to the inside, and Hearn wants to get those bonus points, so he's going to try his best to go around the outside. Now thinks better of it. Tucks in behind Glenworth, and Glenworth's going to go to the inside of Murphy, take that lead for the time being. But here's the thing, Sue. There's a slower car up ahead. That may pose a problem for these drivers.
Oh, that's Gary Laverne. He'll surely know how to get out of the way. That's the last time I used that pun all season. The guy to watch out for, I thought it was going to be David Rodriguez, who was racing in 5th. He now drops back to 7th. Here comes a guy we haven't talked about, Chris Reagan, racing in 5th right now. He is within shouting distance. He's a long putt away from Greg Forsythe, but he does not need to battle side by side. David Sorrow goes underneath him.
I'm not buying that promise that you're saying it's going to be the last time you use that pun. I'm just, speaking from experience, as you've seen lots of cars go wide as they can. Glenworth gets that lead again. Gallas goes up to 8th place. So Mark Amini falling all the way back to 9th. He's in threat of losing that spot, as well as Guyan goes up to 6th as well. So behind this battle, well, the top 5 obviously all straight, but lots of dancing already in the closing stages of this race.
Here's the beauty about Gary Laverne. He was a stepping stone for the guys. As he got lapped, it allowed them to come through. Well, we are getting to that time. This is when you want to start to race for real. Two-time champion. They call him Clendy, the DC Money Man.
Murphy to the point so far, and yeah, this is about the time where you try and time off your pass. This is practice for that final lap. You want to make sure that you are in position for that slingshot pass coming through 3 and 4. Glendy goes to the inside. He's going to get that spot back. That's not where you want to make the pass, because once you pass that checker flag, it's too little too late. Mitchum into the pits once again. Is he going for a last gasp to try and take that pip that fastest lap? Sorrow has it at a 32.514, but once again, here comes Murphy to the inside. And I'm wondering here, Soup, if Hearn is just sitting back there waiting to see what happens between Clendy and Murphy, because he's quite content seeing them two up at the front.
So now what I'm looking for is a driver that can seem to put his car comfortably wherever he wants it. Clendy seems to be able to do that. I haven't seen Hearn. He is so sneaky that he might just be not showing us what he can do, but he's back there comfortably in 3rd right now. I see Forsythe is doing all he can to hang on to the front 3. And here comes Chris Reagan. The pack now grows from 4 to 7.
Murphy back to the point once again. Yeah, no surprise we saw the pack grow that much. It's a decent, it's actually grown more to that. I would even say the top 10 are all in one pack. Is Glenworth, yeah, you'd say that he can put his car wherever, but remember earlier on, before this battle really took shape, Stu, he tried to put his car up top, but that car did not like being up there. You're on board with their 3rd place driver, Richie Hearn, as he watches Glenworth and Murphy essentially use up their equipment. Soup, I'm thinking that he's banking on these tires falling off, and Hearn's going to be able to capitalize with one hand on the cash bag.
Save your fuel, save your tires, save your money, as you're going to get paid off big. Back out front, it's Clendy. Murphy in 2nd, Hearn watching in 3rd. I could be wrong, but I'm writing Forsythe off. I don't think he has the legs to stay with these boys. They continue to swap up front. I do like Chris Reagan. He came from way back, ran these guys down. He's not let a lap let me correct myself. He has 6 laps out in front, so he knows how to get up there. I think he could be our sleeper. Forsythe, listening to the broadcast, said, Soup, I still got stuff. I can go to the outside. Move him up into third. Richie Hearn saying way too soon to be racing so hard.
Say somebody white-walled it coming off of four, so we'll see if that affects some handling. I think that was Guy Rodriguez that decided to put some Firestones on that wall. As here comes Clemworth once again, but now Forsyth getting really racy, and here comes Reagan. Indeed, he's going to go up high, and he's going to try and make a pass around Richie Hearn. Not going to make it happen just yet, as Hearn has that nose out front. He's battling for a position with Forsyth, but Reagan's going to move into fourth.
For Hearn, sitting back in third position, being patient, that's one thing. Sitting in fourth, all right, I can deal with that. Being in fifth and having the laps click away, I'm not sure if Richie's feeling that one, and that's where he's going right now, into fifth. As my man, Chris Reagan, becomes to charge. 3 wides up front. They are punching a huge hole for Reagan. Can he put the car wherever he wants? He tries to put the car down low, wants to get it under Murphy. Murphy says, not on this lap, buddy. Meanwhile, coming across the line, who's going to get credit with leaving it? It's Clendy. Murphy with a good run. Oh, my goodness, we are really heating up here in Fontana.
0.05 seconds separates your top two at the line, separates them now coming off of turn number 2. It's Clemworth, Forsyth, your top two. Forsyth tucks back into line, and the defense comes into play. Here comes Murphy down low. He's going to get that pass once again, and now the drama builds even more. Clemworth is possibly going to fall back into third as well, but Clemworth going to go down to the inside. Hearn may have used up his equipment as he's got Guy into the outside.
Forsyth racing hard. Reagan waiting patiently back there in fourth. He's got a big run. Let's see if he ducks to the inside. He's got himself alongside Forsyth. But it didn't go anywhere.
I'd say that little move cost Hearn at least one spot, as when Reagan tried to go to the inside, Hearn had to check up just a little bit down the straightaway. As Mark Murphy, your leader so far, Murphy and Clenworth, they've been going back and forth for the past couple of laps, Soup.
Again, Reagan puts the car down low, but it will not stay there. He loses ground. Pinned to the top side is the Frenchman, Alex Guillaume, trying to make it work. We got 3 line behind him. Careful, guys. 2 wide in front. Things are really hitting up. Working on the low side. Trying to get it done. That's Richie Hearn. 3 wide in a battle for 4th position. Hearn gets the worst of it, but he doesn't give up. They continue to fly in formation. Now they get a set it. Now that 3 wide is done. Now they go 3 wide up front.
Well, Soup, I don't know about you, but I think they're starting to boogie up front.
They are definitely boogie. Here they come underneath you. They come across the line. Here they come. If you're thinking about winning, get the mirror ball and spin it. Grip the groove, make your move. Put on your dancing shoes. It's time to boogie. And the man out in front showing his move.
Forsyth, they're deep in a battle. I think that these two are the ones who are going to be running to the end. At the front, Reagan, the interested spectator, he could be the screw in the whole plans right now, as Murphy's going to try and make it 4 wide, almost does. And yeah, by this angle, they are 4 wide, but they're really close to 3 wide for the lead, and working their way around lap number 1 in the closing stages here at Auto Club Speedway. Clenworth, Forsyth, Murphy, 1, 2, 3, battling for that podium position. Reagan and Hearn round out your top 5.
Reagan's got the speed, but he can't make it work down low. He can't make it work up top. Now, trying to make his car as wide as a Julia Roberts smile is Kyle Clenworth. He comes across the line. He is working lap number 124 right now. 2 to go. He's pinning down to the inside. Hugging the inside like a tight pair of Fruit of the Looms is Kyle Clenworth. Trying to roll around the top, but it's the longer way to go is Craig Forsyth. With a big hole in the air being punched by the 2 up front, Mark Murphy looking for somewhere to go. Fontana is wide. He moves to the top. The lap car gets out of the way. Great job by Brian Irby. Not going to be an issue. Why are you here? White flag lap. 3 wide as they go down into the first corner. Down low is Glenworth. He says, turn on the reggae music if you want to pass me. You're going to have to do it high. Forsythe says, okay. Flying outside is Murphy. Clendy moving now a little bit up, trying to get a better bite through 3 and 4. He continues to hug the low line. I think they're running out of real estate. Is there momentum for Forsythe? He's coming. He's using his Flintstone feet. He's scooting up to the chair. He's going to steal it. The winner, Greg Forsythe.
0.01 seconds. Your top 4 separated by 0.05 seconds. Incredible finish.
Sweet sassy Molassie. 2-time champion Kyle Glenworth will get second. My partner gets paid off at the window. Mark Murphy, our big mover of the night, up 17, will get 3. This is just a taste of what's going to happen the next 13 rounds. The racing is over. The broadcast is not. We'll take a short break. We'll come back and run down the entire finishing order. Talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on Fantana. Don't go far. You're watching the Virtual Grip Network.
Spokane Valley, meet Sim Motion, your local home for high-performance sim racing gear. Budget setups from $300. Visit us in Spokane Valley.
Welcome back to Auto Club Speedway and VGN's debut coverage of this wonderful series. With this going on, let's go ahead and give you the final standings right now as the results are in. Craig Forsythe came through. He only led 3 laps, but one of them was the last one as he picks up the win to start the season. Two-time champion Kyle Klendworth will finish in second. Mark Murphy, very impressive drive from him. He goes from 20th to 3rd and did most of those 17 spots in 1 or 2 laps. Chris Reagan, he was quick. He was in that second group, got to the front, but then didn't have anything for the guys to challenge for the win. The French oil painter, Alex Guillon, comes home in 5th. Right behind him, real-time former IndyCar driver, my late mother's favorite IndyCar driver, Richie Hearn, will come home in 6th. 7th and 8th go to David Rodriguez and Mateus Marcomini. Hugo Galvez, we didn't talk much about him as he had a good run. Started in 5th, raced up near the front most of the race. He'll come home in 9th and rounding out your top 10. It's Lewis Hayes.
Let's take a look at 11th, Ryan O'Donohue, last car in the lead lap. Then we get the cars 1 lap down who had either penalties or something went wrong. Christopher, Gary Lovern, Brian Irby, last car 1 lap down. David Sorrow, 3 laps down. He was your early race leader. That was Justin Kirby, 4 laps down with Mike Rigney down 7 laps. Mason Mitchum, 17 laps down with problems. Joshua Zorn, 45 laps down. And not finishing the race, Jim Herrick involved in that first and only caution that we had on the first set of pit stops.
With that said, I get the honor of talking to our race winner if he's able to do it. We got Craig Forsythe with us. Let's go ahead and bring him in here, see if we can talk to Craig. Craig, it's Soup up here in the booth. You have a copy?
You betcha. Soup, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. Way to take that one at the very end. When did you know you had the win?
Going into turn 1 when my relative or my standings finally refreshed to tell me that I'd won.
That was a tough one. Now, I really, to be honest with you, I don't know if you've ever listened to the rebroadcast of these things. I counted it out. I didn't think you had anything for these guys, Klendworth and Murphy up there in front of Envian Hearn. You surprised me. You only led 3 laps, but you got it done when you needed to.
That's pretty typical for how I drive these cars. I'm the chronic fuel saver, the guy who sits back in the draft, and then if things work out at the end, pace wise, that's when it's time to charge. I mean, it's the IndyCar is so fuel save dependent,
right?
Because there's such there's a massive, like even at this track, for example, 36 laps full fuel, 45 laps at max fuel save, like 9 laps of fuel range on a single stint. So
fact, we talked about that in the race. It's not about getting in the window. It's getting in the window, making your pit stop and be able to race at the end, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was where, that's why you saw everyone on the first stint was just in a super slow fuel save, because everyone wanted to get to that 45, 47, whatever you can do, because the more you could fuel save, then the better your the less the more you could go map 1, 36 laps full fuel racy at the end. Sure, the caution ended up breaking that up, of course, but you have to plan for every eventuality in this car.
My final question is for you: was tires an issue racing at night? It looked like some guys would take it down low and they'd have trouble keeping it there. Then it looked like you could put the car where you wanted to. Was that the case?
I think a lot of the guys were concerned more than they needed to be, because you could put a lot more weight jacker into this setup than you normally would, or you'd normally be comfortable with, and the car would still have grip. So you had guys that were, they would only go up a little bit. They were used to only going up a little bit on the weight jacker. So they were at the max they thought they should be comfortable at, and were starting to understeer and would have to lift. Where, I knew, and I mean, the guys on our team, the whole 40 racewear crew is just like, no, you can go all the way up to plus 15, plus 16, plus 17. Move that weight jacker all the way over, and you'll be able to hold the line if you want to.
Got it. We'll get you out of here on this one. We'd like to learn a little bit about you. First time talking to you. Where do you hail from? What do you do?
I'm a Canadian up from Alberta. I race for 40 Racewear. That's Jim Herrick's race team, along with Richie Hearn and Chris Reagan and Chris Stouffer, and I work in IT.
How's the weather up there in Alberta right now?
We are in a Chinook, which is what happens when the air, the warm air comes off of the mountains. So everything has melted, and it's shorts and t-shirt weather right now.
All right. Well, there
And
you
a week
go.
ago, it was a foot of snow.
January in Canada, shirts and t-shirt. Hey, we look forward to talking to you again. Good luck the rest of the way.
You bet, you guys. Stay safe.
Craig Forsyth, your race winner today. Partner, who you got?
Let's talk to our second place finisher, the man who won me 2 cents, Kyle Clenworth, your 2-time defending series champion. Kyle, Jeremy in the booth. First of all, congratulations. Hard fought race. I got to say this. You take a look at a graph of where you were, and it's going to look like a roller coaster at this point because you fell back to below the top tens, but you made your way through the front near the second half of the race.
Yeah, it's all about saving fuel. Getting to the window at the end to be able to go full push in map 1 is the name of the game here. So, me and Mason Mitchum, Gary Lovern, and Hugo Gallas were back there just kind of cruising, saving fuel, getting to the point where we could pit with 36, 37, or 38 to go, just fill it up and rip from there. Craig and Stouffer beat me down the pit lane pretty bad, but I think Stouffer sped. And then from there on out, it was just me, Craig, Richie Hearn, and Mark Murphy just duking it out for 25 laps, which was pretty freaking sweet to go toe-to-toe with those guys and not make contact once and, put on a show for all you fans watching at home.
I gotta say, you do have that Central Illinois accent coming from somebody from Northeast Illinois. Anyway, that was a big thing too. There are a handful of drivers who it's just either they lost it going into the pits, or they copped a black flag for too fast entering. How tough was it coming from the track at full speed into the pit lane? Because if I remember correctly, Auto Club Speedway does not have a big easement between the track and that pit in line.
Yeah, and to get down from the racing surface to pit road, it's maybe a couple hundred yards at most. So once you pull off a turn 4, if you're not woed up from the apex, you're not going to hit the right line. And with the new hybrid, it changes the way the brakes behave once the battery is fully charged, and it charges when you're on the brakes. So if you come in with an empty battery and then halfway through your braking for pit road and the battery fills up, it'll snap all rearward. So you really need to be mindful about putting your bias forward. So when that happens, you can stomp on the brakes and have the front bite and it won't spin you around. I saw that happen to a couple of drivers.
That's a good point. I forgot about the new battery, the hybrid functionality in these IR18s. Nonetheless, a great race, great start to your title defense. And of course, you gave Soup almost every bit of information that you could have to make us sound somewhat decent. What is something that you haven't told Soup that you want the fans to know here on VGM?
Here's what I want to know. Clendy, you're into finance, right? Help me out here.
Yeah,
this is a yes or no question. Bitcoin, yes or no?
I am legally obligated to not give other people investment advice.
Jeez.
I could have told you that
talk
one,
after
Soup.
the race. Okay. All right. You got it, partner.
God help us all. Clendy, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys.
All right, take us home, partner, while I go ahead and research what.
Well, we've got third place. Do we want to talk to him?
No, yeah. Let me bring up Mark Murphy. I didn't know we had him.
I'll go ahead and take this.
You got it?
Okay. Okay, I guess I got it. Hey, Mark, Jeremy and Soup up in the booth. Third place finish, up 17 spots, highest climber of the race. That was kind of fun. You decided to make it 3 wide near the end as well.
Yeah, I've been sitting here trying to think about what I could have done different. Kyle and I, Clindy and I had it. I thought we had kind of had it wired, and I knew Craig was there, and he's a really savvy driver. And so I knew he probably had something up his sleeve and couldn't quite figure out what. And sure enough, he drafted by me. And when you're third here, it's really difficult to drive around 2 cars. So I just tried to stay in the draft as long as I could on the last lap, hit the hybrid, pull it out wide, and kind of hope momentum would carry me past him. I believe we'd had another 100 feet. It might have been different. If it was a Talladega start finish line, we might have had a shot at it. But tickled pink with third, just glad to be here and happy to be going fast and having fun.
And that's half the battle, really, especially with all the great talent that you guys have in this series. We're glad to be here, none to say the least. But that final stint, it was absolutely fantastic from you and the rest of the drivers. Talk about how it was racing with those close quarters there at the end.
It's fantastic. I mean, anytime you've got drivers the caliber of Kyle Clenworth and Craig Forsyth and Richie Hearn around you, Chris Reagan, you're going to see phenomenal racing. you know, obviously Richie's pedigree doesn't need any introduction, but you know, Craig Forsyth is a veteran driver that's been around forever. He and I have done this more times than I care to count, and you know that when you're around him, you can run an inch or two apart for an hour and never touch. The same with Clindy, and you know, you can trust them. You know they're going to do the right things, and they know you're going to do the right things. And yeah, you just try to outsmart them. And today we were third smart, I guess.
Hey, Mark, it's Soup. You're up 17 spots, but we watch it. It seemed like 14 or 15 of them came in like 2 laps. Did you just decide to dial it up and get out of mid pack and get up front?
No, so I was really surprised. The field was at the start really leaving the top open, and I had it in map 4, so I was in the fuel save, but you know, when they all filed down into turns 1 and 3, everybody was trying to drill the bottom, and I just kept the thing up near the top and started passing cars. It wasn't intentional. Uh, it wasn't intentional to do that quick, but you know, it was one
It
of
was
those
fun.
where
It's fun to watch.
well, it was scary for me. I didn't know like if I was burning too much fuel or what, but because I kept looking down at the dash, I'm like, it does say 4 on there, right? You know, but it, they were just all trying to go to the bottom, and I was just staying on the top and ripping the top, and then I got to the top 3, and I said, wait a minute, I don't need to go. I don't need to go anymore. I really don't want to lead because you burn too much fuel. So I just got to third and kind of got in line and stayed there.
Well, nice race. We'll see you down the road, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. Appreciate you guys doing the broadcast. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Admin Box, Black Magic Studios, and P1 Broadcasting. Thank you so much, Soup and Lowell, for having us, and enjoy. I won't be able to make all these, but we'll try to get back up here again sometime.
All right. Good luck.
Yes, sir.
Mark Murphy's third place finisher. All right, partner, get us out of here.
What a fantastic start to our tenure here on the ISRA. And of course, there's more great racing. I'll be back on Friday for the opener of the Steelcraft Structures Super Late Model Series with I'm losing my mind. It's so late. And then Soup, you and I have the late model series opener at North Wilkesboro Speedway. We'll be back with more ISRA action at Las Vegas Motor Speedway on Wednesday. Of course, you can find out all the schedules.
Who's covering? Are those all VGN broadcasts right there we're seeing?
Those are all VGN broadcasts. It's so small, you might have to get a magnifying glass out there.
Yeesh.
Yeah. We're packed full. Hey, at least yesteryear doesn't start till Tuesday, February 17th. All right, for all of us here at VGN, for my broadcast partner, Bill Soup Zahn, and of course, Lowell Jewell, back in the truck, I'm Jeremy Scott. Keep it pointed forward, keep it between the ditches, and always keep it greasy side down. We'll see you next time here on the Virtual Grip Network.